Hello and welcome back to the 100 acre woods. This is our first attempt at putting down block. So here, to start out with, we're just kind of laying out the block, getting a feel for how many we will need across. We did a preliminary kind of estimate just by calculations, but just getting things laid out and thinking through it before we actually start mixing mud and getting everything down to ready to put it down. So we had an old wheelbarrow tub that we mixed the mortar in. It's a convenient spot where we could mix it and then kind of move it around to where we needed it. So as we kind of figured out the consistency, to begin with, we were a little on the dry side. So just trying to kind of figure it out initially. Started out by just kind of putting it down on the cement and then placing the block on top, and then kind of getting the mortar to stick to the end of the block was kind of the trickier part, so ended up kind of making a mess initially, but started to get it figured out as we went through. Since we didn't really know how much mortar we were going to need, we ended up mixing some smaller batches and using that up instead of having a whole bunch. So we just kind of started small and kind of figured out what we needed, and that kind of also gave multiple chances to kind of get the consistency right. It was after watching some videos on YouTube and different things to kind of see what the consistency should be and some techniques on how to put the mortar down. We're able to work our way down, and toward the end we ended up having to cut a block and kind of come up with that size, and then did I believe 3 blocks on the ends, just gonna make a more stable wall so we could tie everything together by having those blocks on the end. Okay, so here getting the other end tied in, so we have the 1 block that makes up part of the wall, and then getting 2 blocks put down to kind of cap the end. This pallet we bought from Menards and just contained a mixture of face block and normal block, so we kind of picked out the face block so we could make sure to have those where we needed them here, like the one that we just put on, along with the one that's on the end on the side. So here I'd watched some videos and started to get a little bit of a technique on how to start putting the mud down. Welcome back to the 100 acre woods, out here at the homestead again today. Just giving you a quick update on kind of what we got going with the slab here. As you can see behind me, we have started to get the wall done here. So it's not perfect by any means, since this is kind of our first go at it. Slowly starting to get it figured out though, kind of figuring out the consistency of the mud and everything. Right now I've done a little bit of time lapse of what we've done so far, but maybe tonight I think we're going to try to finish it up, and I'll do a little bit more video of actually doing it. But we've started to kind of get the technique down. If you look down this way, it's definitely not straight. Part of that is we're lining up with the back edge of this, so it's not perfectly square. Basically we're going to end up doing 1 more row up and go across. We've been just putting the mud down, and then we've been going back through and kind of finishing it as we go. Just kind of cleaning up the joints and everything. So we've kind of been, since we're pretty new at this, having never done it before. So on a project we did not too long ago in the house, we ended up using this cement paneling. So we had lots of scraps of that. So we're actually using this as spacers for like you can see there's pieces of it down in there. so that you don't just smash out everything as you put the block on. I've been using these along here to kind of help leave a bit of a gap and hopefully leave it a little bit more consistent. So we've been putting the mud on the sides, have these run down the center, and then set the block on and get it pushed together. So once we get the last row on, we are going to fill the blocks with Quikrete, and we're going to do that just to kind of help sturdy everything up, since we're not professional at it, but having that will help sturdy everything and just make for a little bit better wall. Take some of that. Got a big little chunk there. Turd.
Yeah, going too far is not bad.
Right. Okay, and face block. So this is kind of the consistency we've been doing the mud. So you should be able to get a big helping and then flip it upside down, so it looks like I actually need to thicken or probably get this a little bit wetter. But basically we've been trying to get the best we can on the bottom, so I've kind of gotten that part down, and then we've been getting the sides and then just filling in. And again, he's cutting strips of that cement board. So those pieces there, and you can see we were using those as cheaters to kind of help hold it up so that we get the correct gap at the bottom to fill to. So I'm just kind of using that as a cheat method. Okay, so is there something we want to do to kind of help even it out, since this is our last row?
Yeah, maybe not put a piece there.
Okay. Because we can have this top row be flat, that would definitely make putting our 2x6s up easier.
So when we remind me, when we pour our concrete,
Okay.
I'm sure that I have foundation bolts in the shed.
Okay.
We need to put those in so we got something to bolt the 2x6 down to, that way we don't have to tap on them.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. I want a regular block, don't I?
Yes. I'm just getting decent at that. And you're off on this back corner.
I Like that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Split the difference.
Yep. At this point, we started to get a little bit more of a process down to where we had blocks ready, knew how to mud the ends along with the bottom, so ended up kind of getting through to where we could do it a little bit more efficiently and add some process so that we each knew kind of what we're doing and how to make this go a little bit quicker. Mentioned a little bit earlier, we had face block and normal block. So here toward the end, we ended up having to use some of those face blocks in the middle just because we didn't have enough normal block and didn't want to have to run and get more.
Channel, something like that.
And it'd probably be easier. Maybe.
Well, it's how we want to build the
Picnic shelter.
picnic shelter anyway, so it would be a good learning experience. You know, how this looks is less important than how it functions.
Right. Yeah. And like the and like you said, this would be a good one to experiment on and see how it goes.
Did I go in too much?
Think so? No?
No, I was talking about right
Oh,
there.
okay.
That looks okay.
Yeah, our bottom block must be off. Or the one below it, I mean. Oop. Doing this full one.
Yes. Oh, it's not as crappy as it looks. Because we put one sideways there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we tried to put the last block in. Should have been a full block, but it ended up being a little off. So Dad took the cutoff saw to cut it down to the correct size, and got some mud in there. So whenever we placed it in, get that in place, and that would be the last block that we need to put in for this. Once we have this block in, we can kind of start going back through and using the shaping tool and clean up any excess mud, just so it didn't dry and become kind of an issue later on. So that's what Dad's working on here, taking a finesse tool to go through and kind of clean up the joints, and then also scraping off any excess mud we had on the ground or on the block, just so that we had a clean project once we were done. Okay, so after we got that set up, we are going to fill the block with cement. So we bought some Quikrete bags. And here you can see we are getting the J-hooks or the concrete anchors in place, so that once we have the concrete in, we still have bolts sticking up that we can tie our 2x6s to. So we have those placed on the two end walls, and then also in the middle where we know the stud wall will kind of be split. So we mix it up one bag at a time in this small mixer we have, and then just put it into 5-gallon buckets and dumped it in, and then use like a fence post to kind of work the concrete in so we didn't have any voids. We ended up mixing it up pretty wet just so that it could definitely get down in the voids without too much issue. To kind of cap everything that we've done with this wall kind of all in one video. So here's the finished product. We've had the Visc clean on it because we got some rain a couple days after we put this on, so we didn't want water getting and kind of diluting the Quikrete we put in. But we can take this off now. It's just been windy. Haven't messed with it yet, but we have all this done. But I did uncover this side, so kind of show. These are the anchors we put in. So basically we just use these boards to kind of help hold them in place while the concrete set up. So we'll be able to take these off and take these boards out, and then they'll just be sticking up. And then whenever we go across and put our sill plates on for kind of building out our wall. So mainly we'll have a stud wall that comes up and then tie in the corners here. We'll have the wall that comes from there, and we just wanted something sturdy to be able to tie to. So we have these two on this wall. We have one on the end here. We have one here, so it's about halfway. So we'll have one section of wall that will be about a 12-foot wall, and then we'll have a 12-foot wall from here to there. And then we did the same thing on this side that we did on the other, having the two, so that we have something to tie those walls into. So the idea is to build a stud wall on top of this, and go from there. So we are kind of in the process of waiting now for the sawmill to get here before we can do too much more. But this is where we're at, and you can see it's filled that up, so now this has become a very sturdy wall. Thank you for joining me while we kind of built this wall and kind of learned how to do some brickwork or some block work, since it's the first we've ever done. Appearance wise, doesn't look too bad. If you really start to look at it, you can see some imperfections, but overall not bad for a first go. And with it being filled, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's, I guess, the important part. Thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and we'll catch you next time.